get you some. Oh, yeah. Mate, it's lucky she can cook. Wow!
G'day lovelies, welcome back. I hope you're all having a good day today. Okay, I've put the title as Quick Heavy Cheese Bread. Now the reason I've done that is because if you're not Aussie, you don't know what damper is. So my fellow Aussies, give me 1 minute just to explain to the world what damper is. G'day world. Damper is part of the bread family. The difference between bread and damper is damper has no yeast, which means that you can make it and bake it straight away. It's also really heavy, which means it's really filling. Traditionally, it's cooked outside over the coals of a fire, but a lot of us cook them inside in the oven as well. So back in the day, damper was pretty basic. It was pretty much flour, water and salt. It was pretty much rock hard, but it was made to go with your stews or your casseroles, something with lots of gravy. So you're out in the bush, you've been swimming all day, you're absolutely starving. A nice chunk of rock hard damper dipped into that gravy. Oh, it never tasted so good. These days we've juiced them up a bit and we've got them a lot lighter than they used to be. So we're going to be coming into real hard times soon, make no doubt about it. Things like these dampers are absolutely going to save you. So you've got a big family, you're making a meal for them, but you've only got small serves. What do? You make a damper. Because damper is so heavy and filling, you either cut a slice or a wedge of it, depending on how you make it, with a big wad of butter, and you serve it with your meal, and I guarantee you, your whole family will be full. And if you've got bugger all, they're absolutely beautiful to make up and just put butter on them and eat them hot with nothing else as well. I'll write the recipe below as always. So the first thing we're going to need is 3.5 cups of self-raising flour into a large bowl. Now I still don't have any self-raising flour, so I'm going to turn my plain flour into self-raising flour. So to turn plain flour into self-raising flour, all you need is some baking powder. So it's 1 cup of plain flour equals 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So I've got 3.5 cups of plain flour, so I'm going to put in 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And now with a fork, I'm just going to mix that through properly. Okay, I have now turned my plain flour into 3.5 cups of self-raising flour. Next, I have 50 grams of butter chopped up into little squares. And with my fingertips, I'm going to squeeze it into the flour, and we're going to keep squeezing it in until we can't see it anymore. Okay, at this stage, we want to preheat our ovens at 200 degrees Celsius. You want to get out a baking tray with some baking paper. Once we've done that, we want to add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of plain white sugar, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. Okay, now for the chives. If you have got fresh chives, you want 1/4 cup, roughly, whatever you can get, of fresh chives chopped, and a few extra to sprinkle on the top if you want. If you don't have fresh chives, which I don't today, and if I go and I'm out in the bush, I'll use all dry anyway. So today I'm using 1 tablespoon of dry chives. Okay, so 1/4 cup of fresh or a tablespoon of dry. Now we need 1/4 cup of chopped fresh parsley or a tablespoon of dry parsley. So I've got fresh parsley out of the garden, so I'm going to bang in 1/4 cup. Now we need 1 cup of grated cheese. You can use any cheese you get your hands on. Today I'm just using the real pizza cheese because that is what I've got. Alright, now we just want to mix them through. Alright, once we've given them a good mix through, whack a hole in the middle. We want to add 1 cup of water, 1/2 cup of milk. Now either you have 2 cloves of fresh garlic crushed or 2 heaped teaspoons of the jar garlic. Now I love using these cake thingies when making doughs and that, they're just really easy. If not, just use whatever you got. So I'm just going to mix that garlic in first. Alright, and then I'm going to slowly mix it all in. Okay, once all our dry ingredients are wet, just get it in a little pile. Okay, now once we've got it in a pile, we want plain flour. And don't be afraid to use too much plain flour because we are not kneading it in at all, okay? The plain flour is just simply so we can get it into a ball and pick it up. So it doesn't matter how much you use because we're not kneading it into it. Alright, so always put it around the sides. So pat our hands and get flour on our hands, and then as we scoop from the sides, the flour will fall down and coat the underneath. Okay, once it's done that, we should be able to just tip it over once and tip it back over once, and we're done. Grab our tray. Alright, grab it out and put it on our tray. So just get it into a bit of a circle. I'll get it into the middle. Okay, we want to flatten it down a little bit, halfway. Alright, get it into a nice little circle like so. Now with traditional damper, you would use the back of a knife and you would imprint either a 4 or 8. So when you served it, you could chop them into your wedges and have a big wedge, hot wedge with the butter. But today, because I've called it the bread, I'm just going to do it this way instead. Because I feel like it. Oh, why not? Now, a lot of people, I have noticed, don't really like damper just because of the flour on the outside. So, grab a little bit of extra milk. Me personally, you're not eating damper unless everybody's got flour all over them. Okay, so what we do is you just put it on and we wash it off. And just like that, lovelies, flour is gone. Now, you can leave it just like that and bake it. But I'm going to spread some dry chives on top of mine. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour over it because that's just me. Just a little bit. Just to remind us it's damper. Alright, as soon as our oven is hot enough, bang her in there. 40 minutes later in my electric oven and it smells awesome in here. Oh yeah, baby. Now I forgot to say, the way you can tell if it's cooked is flick it. Hear that hollow sound? When you get that hollow sound, that means it's ready. Show you that fully steamed up the camera. Oh my god, mate. Big wad of butter or marge. And mate, you got yourself something pretty special there. Give it a crack. Your whole family's going to love it. It's going to fill everybody's tummies. Oh my god, we're going to smash it on its own just like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves an awesome night and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Toodles.